finally have a jury. 9 men and 9 women. $18 people who have never heard about this case, have no idea what's going on, have not heard anything on the news, have not read anything, have not talked to anyone about this. I think is going to be one of the most historic criminal trials in the history of the United States of America. Yes, you heard that correctly. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Buckle Up, It's the Law. Jury selection in the Karen Read case started on April 1st, and here we are 2 weeks later on April 15th. We finally have a jury. 9 men and 9 women. Why did it take so long, you might ask? 2 full weeks almost just to seat a jury. 18 people. Originally, the agreement was to seat 16, 12 jurors who are going to be deciding the case, plus 4 alternates. However, I believe it may have been the Lori Vallow trial that is proceeding right now, pro se, which we are not going to be covering on this channel because nobody cares. She already lost a juror in the very beginning of the case in opening statements, I'm pretty sure. She's representing herself, and good luck to her is the best I can say. But at the end of the day, Auntie Bev was content with having 16 jurors. Unfortunately, for one reason or another, and of course we know what that reason is, Hank Brennan must have been following the Lori Vallow trial, and he realized that maybe 16 is not that much of a safe bet. Maybe just in case we need to add a couple more, and so he made a motion to add a couple more to make it 18, just to be safe in case they lose a couple more. In case there are going to be such glaring not guilty verdicts written all over their faces that they can be like, all right, we can strike those just to make sure that we can try and get a conviction. They're bending over backwards to try and convict this woman, and it is disgusting. But that's a story for another time. So now we have 9 men and 9 women. They're going to be deciding this case, and if all goes according to plan, 12 of those will deliberate and 6 will be excused. If at any point there are any jurors who are excused for various other reasons, like they don't show up because, they are sick or whatever, and the court has to strike them because they have not been listening to testimony, then the pool of alternates will shrink, but in no way, shape, or form can it drop below 12. If it drops below 12 people, then it'll be an automatic mistrial. So there are 6 people that the court can remove as jurors at this juncture before a mistrial is declared. That's a lot of people. So 18 people are going to be seated. They're going to be listening to this evidence. Now, people have been asking me, Larry, are people going to know, the people on the jury, the new jurors, are they going to know about trial number 1? By the way, this is a good time to say, don't forget to click that subscribe button. It's free, it supports the channel, and you get more content like this delivered directly to you if you turn those notifications on. No, the jurors are not going to know about trial number 1. However, they are going to know about the fact that there was testimony, because there's going to be a lot of impeachment. The lawyers just have to be very careful. They can't say, well, in the first trial, you testified that. They can't say it like that. Lawyers are simply going to say something like, well, you have previously testified, and they will name the date, May, June 2024, whenever that particular witness testified. And so the jury is not going to know that there was a previous trial. They have no idea that this is a retrial. And you may say, well, Larry, everyone knows about this case. That's one of the reasons it took so long to get a jury. That is one of the reasons why it took so much time to seat a panel of 18 jurors. We were basically moving at the rate of 2 jurors per day. On average. Think about it. April 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. 5th and 6th were the weekend. 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. 12th, 13th were the weekend. 14th and 15th. 11 days. 11 days. That's almost an average of like 1.8 jurors per day. That's how long it took in a full day of proceedings. 8 hours a day, every day, to find 18 people who have never heard about this case, have no idea what's going on, have not heard anything on the news, have not read anything, have not talked to anyone about this, basically are living in a bubble under a rock in Norfolk County. Which is entirely possible. Not all these people are from Canton. I believe I previously in one of my videos mistakenly said that the people are from Canton. I forgot that Canton is not the county. That's why I said it. It's Norfolk. Norfolk is the county. And as a result of that, all of these people have been chosen from Norfolk. And there are going to be a bunch of people from Norfolk who just don't have the time or the desire or energy or care in the world about some murder trial going on in Canton. That's fine. No one is holding their feet to the fire. That's no problem. But that's why it took so long to find them. It's very, very difficult and arduous process. And mark my words when I say this, there is no way, absolutely no way that these people are not going to know something at some point. Like, it's impossible. You can't isolate them from reality. They are going to be under strict instructions, just like in the first trial, to ignore if they're like watching the news and or watching TV or whatever, and suddenly something comes on about Karen Reed, they have to shut it off immediately. But it's impossible to, in this day and age of social media and ads and news and newspapers and everything, you know, X and Facebook and YouTube and everything, Instagram, TikTok, to just completely be isolated and never come across, unless they don't use any of these things, which is also entirely possible. Hopefully, at some point, I will get a chance to go back into that courtroom and tell you guys from my own personal experience, my own personal views, what I think. This is my specialty. I've kind of involuntarily dubbed myself the jury reading guy, and that's because of the Johnny Depp trial. Those of you who remember, Alec Murdaugh, Johnny Depp, Alec Baldwin. I've been to all of those. This is what I do. Kristen Smart, Danny Masterson, the first trial. I didn't go to the second one. Harvey Weinstein, the second one. I know there's another one starting right now as we speak. I'm not following that one. I just don't have time. That's what I like to do, and hopefully I'll be able to get a chance to go back into that courtroom and give you guys the happenings of what I think is going to be one of the most historic criminal trials in the history of the United States of America. Yes, you heard that correctly. One of the most historic jury trials that we will have ever seen in the United States of America. Why? Because an innocent woman is on trial. An innocent woman is being prosecuted. They're bending over backwards. The just us system is bending over backwards to try and convict this innocent woman, and she has nowhere to turn but to her attorneys and to us, the public. If the trial number 2 is going to be anything like trial number 1, at least in some capacity, I can tell you right here, folks. This jury is also going to be looking at these witnesses and listening to the lawyers speak, and they're going to be scratching their heads and going, will you tell the truth for bloody hell's sake? Please just tell us what really happened. Stop lying. Stop telling us all these machinations and manipulations. And guess what? Lying has just become infinitely harder. Are you listening, Jennifer McCabe? This one's for you. Oh, I know you're the mastermind. I know you are the brains of the operation, or at least the masking thereof and making sure everybody's saying the right thing at the right time. Remember Kerry Roberts? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All of that is coming to light. All of your dirty deeds are all coming out. Everything is coming out. So, trial number 2 is going to be much more difficult, as we talked about before. Impeachment. What does that mean? That means all of the statements that they made in the first trial, if they contradict themselves in any way, shape, or form, well, now they can be subject to impeachment. And of course, we already know their dirty tactics, and I'm not going to repeat them because I don't want to train them and teach them how to get away with it. They know their own tactics. They don't need me for that. What we do know for a fact is that there's going to be a lot of inconsistencies, and that's what Alessi is there for. I think I kind of predicted this a little bit. Chat, help me out here. Do you guys remember when I said this? I said that Karen Reed's team, I said this last year at the end of the first trial, Karen Reed's team is going to need somebody with a photographic memory. I wonder if Alessi is that king of memory. And he's definitely a king of oratory skills, and I know that he's going to be cross-examining most of the experts. He seems like that's his shtick. And to be a good expert cross-examiner, you have to remember minute details about cases, minutia about cases, like the tiny little discrepancies, to be able to disassemble the opposition's expert. That's where I think Alessi comes in, and he might also be helpful in the impeachment process. I guess that remains to be seen. We also have an unprecedented jury consultant who is the first trial's juror, who is also an employment attorney in Massachusetts, in Boston. I mean, this is crazy. This case is breaking so many firsts that I have never seen in my entire life. I've never seen in my entire life. So I'm looking forward to, dare I say, all the corruption that we know is coming. I'm looking forward to Jackson's opening statement on Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. So if you're watching this in the future, sorry, it already happened. But the good news is you can probably just go on my channel and look at it. For those of you watching this today, April 16th, 2025, well, sorry to break it to you, you have to wait a week. Jackson is going to be giving his opening next Tuesday, the 22nd of April, 2025. So with all this in mind, folks, I'm really looking forward to Karen Reed finally walking away from this. I think the theme should be John never got hit by a car. John was never hit by a car. Thank you, Melanie Little, for that tidbit. That is brilliant. John was never hit by a car. Let them piece it together. Let them figure it out. Don't feed it to them. Karen Reed was framed as a little too strong. Just my humble opinion. And I think Melanie Little will echo this. Karen Reed was framed, well, now you have to prove who the perpetrator is. But if you say John O'Keefe was never hit by a car, you start scratching your head. So how did he die then? It leaves it up to the jury to decide, rather than you forcing them in that direction. That is a very powerful psychological difference, and I hope that the defense uses it. Other than that, I wish them Godspeed. I know that we have Motion Hour today, tomorrow, and Friday. And folks, I appreciate you all. Again, don't forget to subscribe. And if you need a personal injury attorney, I'm your guy. 1-844-774-HURT. 1-844-774-HURT. We represent people all over the country. Give us a call. I'm happy to help in any capacity. Love you all. Bye, everybody.